Hi, spooky people! We are back here with another video that I know has been a long time coming. I'm currently filming from my bed where I am editing, and it's taken me way longer to get this together than I thought it would. I filmed this video all the way back in September, but my work schedule has gotten kind of crazy. I'm now working 6 days a week, so I only have one day off to try and get everything done that I need to in my life. So I've been kind of working around that, which is my excuse for why it's taken this long. But every time I feel like maybe I shouldn't finish this, I am reminded of some really sweet comments that a couple of my videos have gotten. So thank you so much for that encouragement. It actually means a lot in terms of just getting the motivation to do this, even though it's been a while. There are a couple sound issues very briefly at certain points in this video that I have tried to fix, but it is what it is. I'm working with an iPhone camera and an iPhone microphone, so we do what we can. But for the most part, I'm just really excited to show you how all this stuff came together. This is my favorite season to decorate, my favorite season to enjoy, and I'm hoping that you have a lot of fun being brought along for some of that with me. I don't know how many more fall videos I'll be able to make just because of my schedule. I had a lot of stuff planned leading up to Halloween, and now because work is crazy, I don't know how much of that will happen, but my secret is that I also really like Christmas, so we will continue to make seasonal stuff even though Halloween is the favorite, and I know some people might be frustrated that I even said that word yet, but at any rate, this is the video that I have, and let's just jump into it and I'll show you what I've got. All right. Hey everyone, so we are back. We're filming the living room decor video. It's pretty chaotic in here right now. I will show you in a second kind of what we're working with. I have tried to sort of start the base of certain areas, and then we're gonna work from there, and I'm gonna try and film as much of that as I can. Probably mostly time lapses, but I will do voiceover kind of telling you what I'm doing, and if you like what you see, I will try and give you some tips for how I personally look at doing this stuff. If you watched the last video, this is the same day. I'm wearing the same t-shirt. Couldn't be bothered to change because whatever, this is what life is. You can probably see in the back, I'm using this table as hopefully my main kind of like JP setup. And then I have, you can kind of barely see it down at the bottom. All of the stuff from the video I filmed this morning is just still sitting out, so we'll be pulling from that as we go. So yeah, can't wait to show you. This is sort of what we're working with in here. A little bit chaotic at the moment. And then also more going on in the kitchen, some stuff laid out. So hopefully we find a way to make it all come together. And we will, we always do. So, yeah. So I've already put up a couple things on my table, the JP cookie jar and that little at-home cat. I'm just trying to figure out what the best positioning will be to really help this stuff shine. Also trying to not make it too messy, so like I feel those mugs are just a bit too much, so I'm taking them out. I want to give things space to breathe while still feeling pretty lush. And there are also a couple changes that I'm going to end up making to this after we have moved on for the final reveal, but this is just a good look at what my process is for putting together a little vignette like this. And I just love it. I'm so happy that I have a spot to display all of these pieces that I just adore. So as you can see, I've sort of culled out the things that just aren't going to work for this space, and I'm trying to center it. I'm not doing a super great job, but I'm trying. I'm also using these at-home witchy candles that I really love. They did get a little bit cracked because I didn't realize they were fully coated in wax, but really enjoying that. Oh, you could see my light go off and on. And here just making some final touches, which again, I changed a couple little things around, but this is how it's looking so far. We're now moving on to this little end table. Excuse the sort of wrinkled fabric on the couch. And I wanted to create a feeling like the pieces were just sort of cascading down from the lamp. But the first thing I'm doing is just gathering up all the little things that I think could work in this space. Not all of them will, but we're just putting them all around and starting to sort of place things. So I've made a second little stack of books to mirror the elevated lamp. You can see I'm just kind of trying to place stuff so it looks a little haphazard, but does have some sort of shape. So it's creating that triangle shape moving down from the lamp. That's that one. So cute. I love all those little pieces. I'm gonna start on the bookcase, which you can see I already have one of my little, that little like stuffed lady up on top of the bookcase. You can see I'm putting up a couple just like base things that I know that I'll need to put there because there's no space to put them anywhere else. And I'm just trying to create a fun little bookcase topper sort of setup, which I really like how this came out this year. I didn't pay too much attention to that last year, so I tried to put a few extra things. Another thing I really like to do on the bookcase is have books that are sort of Halloween themed, facing forward, fall themed, Halloween themed. And when we get a closer look at the final reveal, you'll see which books I chose. I have a lot of fun doing that, and it gives me a chance to display some books more prominently that I really love. And since I actually use my bookcase, it's not like there's a whole lot that I can put on it, but I'm glad that I have it set up in a way where I can just put a few fun things there. Now I also have this little side table next to my comfy chair, which has this beautiful old typewriter that I really like to emphasize. So I've put up that little Will-I-Ray cat that I love, and a couple other vintage pieces I have. Of course, there's not a whole lot going on here, but it's just a really sweet little spot to put some fun, smaller decorations. The other bookcase, I love doing, again, another sort of cascading group on top of it, but also using the cubbies in the case to display some more thematically appropriate books. Hard to see what I'm doing because of this angle, but that's the best I got. You'll see it at the end. Again, I'm just bringing stuff over that I think will work that I'll then sort of shift around to give it the best possible configuration. Also trying to add in things like candles and stuff that's not so complex to give your eye breathing room as you're looking at all of these really cute little things. Because I want it to feel full again, but like you can really see what's going on in the little grouping. And there's a bit of a closer look. Now, for the coffee table, we do use this coffee table for a lot of things, so I can't have it be super crazy. I just wanted something kind of simple and fun. You can see I have to move off all of the decor I have yet to place. And of course, have to give it a good clean. Oh, and you can see Sweet Pea in the bottom. So I'm using just a really lovely book that I have in my Joanna Parker bowl. And just these couple candle holders that I will find better candles for later. But just some tea lights, some candy. Again, nothing too crazy, just a fun little area to pull the whole room together in a way to display one of my favorite pieces that I found this year. And the last spot that I'm going to show in this video before the final reveal is my bedroom dresser, which is one of my favorite spots to decorate. And there are certain things like that's my jewelry box that I have to put up. So there are the few things that I knew that I needed to keep. But I have this little vase full of faux flowers, and I also have a little skeleton hand I'm going to stick out of there. And again, some more smaller books to display. And this teacup, it's a fortune-telling teacup. I'll throw up the site that I got it from. It was kind of a splurge, but I wanted it for like a couple years, so I finally got it. Now, the one issue I have with this space, the way that I'm doing it right now, is that there aren't a bunch of levels in the decor itself. It's just kind of going straight across, which I want to leave breathing room for the mirror above it. But I end up doing some other things later off camera that sort of fix that problem and give it a little bit more dimension so it doesn't feel like it's just this line going across of, clutter. Again, just lots of little fun things. I would say the bedroom is slightly less Halloween themed, and so I'm trying to put things that have touches of that, but for the most part are just a bit more autumnal. And there we go. That's nearing the end of what I'm gonna have filmed of the decorating process. And I can't wait for the final reveal, which will include, of course, the kitchen and the bathroom as well. Okay, folks, we're gonna do my Halloween home tour today, and we're gonna start in the living room because This is definitely my favorite room in the house. I had the most fun decorating it, and there's the most to see. So we're gonna start here to the left, where I've hung this beautiful antique lantern that I just got recently at an antique store. Underneath that is my favorite centerpiece in the house, which is my Joanna Parker tabletop setup. And I have that sitting on this beautiful tablecloth that is this like night sky moon print that I thrifted, and also a piece I thrifted that is this antique checker / chessboard. But the main thing is my little setup here, which I just love. I got to use a bunch of pieces that I got this year and a bunch of pieces that are just my favorites. And you'll have seen me setting that up in the time lapse. But this is what it looks like, all finished and pristine. And of course, beyond the Joanna Parker, I added in a couple little pieces just to tie the whole thing together and make it feel full, because I love my decor to feel full, including that at-home cat blow mold, which I was finally able to score this year, even though it was sold out last year. And those at-home little candles that do light up, but I don't have any batteries, so right now they're just there for fun and for decoration. Anyways, I totally am happy with this. I think that really ended up capturing what I had wanted it to, and I'm glad I get to display these pieces. And of course, right next to it, we have the skeleton sitting, which actually someone was sweet enough to comment a name for him, or for them. So I will throw the name up on screen because I can't remember right in this second, but I was so flattered that someone watched to the point where they saw that in the video. So you got it. You got to name them. Thank you. Then we've got this reading corner over here, which this is my favorite spot to just relax with a book. It's also Spud's favorite spot to sleep, which sort of works out for me because he will come and sit on my lap when I'm over here because I'm in his spot, which I don't mind one bit. But we've switched out now most of the pictures around for some more fall appropriate things. So we've got this painting that I did for Junior Crit that just has a bit more fall color palette. But then we also have this that I did over the spring, sort of winter and spring, which is a cross stitch pattern that I fully designed myself. It took forever to do, and it's Baba Yaga inspired. So it says, "Little hut, turn your door towards me," which fits in with her folk story, if you're familiar at all with Baba Yaga, who's like a Russian witch / grandma character who's very cool, very spooky, and someone who I was really happy to be able to take some inspiration from. So there is her little hut with the chicken legs. And that was super fun to do. Although, again, it took forever. And then we've got this side table down here, which is another spot I love to decorate because I love working around this old Underwood typewriter that I have. So I just put on top a couple antique books. And that, what was this? This is the Will I Ray Studio, if it'll focus. That piece that I have that I love, I just set on top there. And then there's just a couple little owls that were from my brother, and a couple of those thrifted pieces that I showed in my thrifted video that I love, and a little candle. But then above it, is this wooden plaque that was painted by me. I've had a lot of fun painting a bunch of these little wooden plaques you'll see around. And it's just a design that I came up with. And if you'll notice, that pumpkin head is currently my profile picture on YouTube. Again, seasonally appropriate. So yeah, I had a ton of fun doing that, and you'll get to see some more. Then up here, we're gonna move on to the bookcase, which on top we have that little plushie that I got this year, which I've seen at HomeGoods a few years running. I know that she's kind of weird, but I still kind of love her, and I'm glad that I just bit the bullet and picked her up. And of course, a couple more pieces, some of which you would have seen if you watched my vintage and thrifted haul. And I love to put some front-facing books that are seasonally appropriate, like Dracula, or this hilarious little book, The Last Days of Jesus Christ the Vampire, which I haven't read, but it's kind of like a comedic horror book that is very much about Jesus Christ being a vampire, which might be a little bit sacrilegious, but I think it's funny. And then we've got Agatha Christie's Halloween Party, which is another great little book that if you are in the mood for cozy mystery, I would highly recommend that, plus just some little knickknacks. On the third shelf, we have my favorite of the bookshelf setup, which is this Moondog LP and a couple sort of Halloween autumn books. The Old Black Witch is one of my favorite children's stories. You can see the witch there, she's so cute. And an Edward Gorey book, who is, I think, one of the best spooky graphic novelists. If you ever have a chance to pick up one of his books, I would highly recommend it. He's hilarious and a really fantastic illustrator. And these wooden cats that my family had actually got for my grandma that I was able to take back when we were clearing out her house. And I am super, just really grateful to have them. I think that they are really special. And also, that's the amount of people in my family. So there's me, the youngest, my brother, my sister, and my parents. Then at the bottom here, we have the little frog set up. And that little pumpkin on a wooden plaque is another one of those little guys that I painted that I thought was super fun and kind of cute. And of course, there's some book mess and record mess because there always is in this house. That's just how it is. Then moving on to the right of the bookcase, we have another wooden plaque that I painted and put up, which this was the first one that I did, and also I think honestly my favorite to date. It's this witch with her cat and some pumpkins. It says the witch is in. I wish I had done the lettering a little bit better, but it is what it is. I still love her, and I still had a lot of fun coming up with this design and executing it. So when I do more art process videos, I do have a couple more plaques in mind, so you'll kind of see how it is that I put that kind of a piece together. And then we've got this chair over here, which just has the nice pillows on it since no one sits there, so we can put beaded pillows that are very pretty but also not super comfortable to sit against. But I'm glad I have a chair like this to display them in. And on top of this second bookcase, we've got a whole menagerie of stuff that I love. Like that doll, which is an antique from a hardware store that sort of doubles as an antique store. That clown, which is from the same store, which is in Ohio, so I don't get to go to it very often. And then one of those classic HomeGoods candy holders, which I was super glad to pick up because people just keep getting them and resell them for super expensive, and I'm just glad I was able to find one when I did. And a couple other little pieces like that vintage camera, that little home goods guy who's another really popular piece, and of course the little frog who sits on the lampshade, who sits there all year round but is especially appropriate for right now. And moving down, we've got a few little cubbies here I decorated. In this one, that Wildcat book is actually a yearbook that has no affiliation with me whatsoever. I just really liked the cover and I thought maybe I could use the insides for collage one day, but for now I just really like displaying it because the color scheme is really nice. And I've got this one, which has one of those vintage looking Walmart cats, which I was really glad that they still had some of a couple years ago, or maybe a year ago when I got it. And a couple more very seasonally appropriate books. That Struwwelpeter, I can't pronounce it correctly, but that is a really weird children's book that I love. And then The Witch's Bible, which is also a really interesting read if you were into that sort of thing. And down here we've got some Stephen King displayed, which of course he had to make an appearance. I love him as an author, but also obviously very Halloween appropriate. And a little Skelly boy and a little cauldron. Now over here at the couch, I did leave up all of those pictures that had been there before because I feel like they sort of work for fall. The middle one that I painted is maybe not specifically fall, but it's kind of a weird scene. It's this dog next to a person covered in a blanket who might be dead, so I thought that also sort of fit the vibes. But mostly my partner's paintings, I think this one especially just has a really nice fall vibe. So I just kept that one up. And then we've got our couch with our spooky pillows that I'm sure you saw if you have watched any of my other videos. And then down here on our coffee table right in front, we have just a little setup because we actually have to use this coffee table to set stuff on like a table is for. So this is the setup that I came up with that allows for that while still being really cute. I've got my other little Joanna Parker bowl here and a little mummy mouse figure that my mom got for me. And I love to set stuff on like a book or a tray because it kind of contains it and makes it feel a little bit more put together. So that's a pretty common design tip. If you're feeling like stuff is just getting messy and you don't know why, just put it on a book or a tray. And those candle holders, which I need better candles for, but that's what I could come up with, and those are fall scents, so I just wanted them easily accessible. And we have over here this comfy chair, which has another Halloween pillow and that sheep pillow that I got for Christmas and then just keep up all year round because I really love it. And the side table, which this ended up being one of my favorite little areas. I have just some nice little pieces in the menagerie, including that vintage cat with her babies who I love, who've sort of fallen over. Hold on, let me see if I can set you guys up right. But they're just kind of trailing down the books, which obviously I've got some of my vintage books just creating different height and levels, which is a great idea if you feel like you're not getting that in your decoration. And I tried to make it this sort of triangular shape that flows and then curves down to this little coaster that I made myself based off a print, I think maybe from the 1800s. I'm not sure when that print was from, but maybe early 1900s. Okay, then moving on to our little hallway that's kind of a part of the living room, kind of not. I'm going to do it all in one here. But we have, I'll start with this print while the glare isn't so bad. This is this gorgeous Halloween newspaper edition that I got from my job that I was so happy to pick up before anyone else took it, because I think it's just really funny and also a great illustration and was very exciting to find. So now I put it up every year. And then I've got this little table decoration with this pretty big piece. This is now one of the biggest pieces, if not the biggest piece that I own, that I picked up from Home Goods. Also one of the few glittery pieces that I have, which I'm not a huge fan of glitter, but it's got that really chunky glitter that is very vintage, feels almost like vintage Christmas decoration glitter. If you know the vibe, then you know. So anyways, I actually think it kind of works in this case, and I was pretty glad that I picked that guy up. I think he adds a really nice little touch. And he is next to this little table, which has that Dr. Dolittle book that is not specifically autumnal, but I liked the cover of it and I thought it played really nicely with the yellow and the Crow Girl's skirt. And she's a piece that I didn't display very prominently last year, but I really, really love her, so I tried to give her a little bit more of a center this year. And they're on this little tea towel, which is just cats. I thought it was cute. Now over here we've got another bookcase. This one was sort of my less vibrant area because I moved this rug from the kitchen over to here. So I didn't want something that clashed too much with that. But I have this beautiful sort of flower skull that I got last year and some more really great books, like another Edward Gorey, The Widow's Broom, which is sort of a witch book, another great illustrator who I'll throw up on screen if I remember, and the Homeopathic Family Guide, which is so funny because a ton of the recipes in there include like nightshade and other really poisonous stuff, but this is an actual vintage homeopathic guide. So it was just kind of weird. It felt very spellbook-esque. So I have now been putting it out for a couple years and I just love it. I think it's a super fun piece of history. And next door, I switched out the art pieces, or that little mirror that I had here, for this print that I got from the Getty Museum in California when I was there this summer. And I will throw up the artist on screen, but it felt very spooky and autumnal and definitely fits the vibe. And then I've got these beetles that I had left up that were from my grandma's house. And then the last thing, which is on the door to our bedroom, is another little plaque that has a Edgar Allan Poe quote, "All that we see or seem is but a dream within a dream." And these two little sort of gremlin-y brother and sister who have sort of become a character in my sketchbook, a couple of characters in my sketchbook. That was just another fun little autumnal Halloween plaque that I did. So yeah, This is the living area. I'm so pleased with how it came out. It feels really cozy. As I said in my first video doing this type of thing, this house is very well suited to this kind of decoration. So it's not like I needed to do a whole lot, but of course I did do a bunch because this is just what I like to do and it brings me joy. There's a little bit of an overview. We love the spooky vibes. All right, we're gonna move on next to the kitchen. I will see you in a second. We're actually gonna start the kitchen here in this corner you didn't see before because I have hung this Newcastle Brown Ale chalkboard that I usually draw just a little something fun. I hadn't been able to hang it up in this place yet, but I realized this would be the perfect spot. So I just drew a quick little cute Halloween illustration. And then underneath I hung this little vintage Halloween tea towel from my grandma that I really didn't want to get dirty. So this is the spot where it can just hang and be cute, and that's it. And over here we've got our little key holder corner, which has that little thrifted sign. And underneath there's a little setup where I put one of my Joanna Parker mugs. And then I've just got this spooky tin down here, which I put there because sometimes we need to set stuff in that corner so it works as a little shelf, and also I just had no other better place to put it, so there you go. Moving into the rest of the kitchen, we've got this, another menagerie, which is my favorite spot to decorate. We've got the old cookie jar, couple JP pieces, and just some little things. We've got the ice cream parlor, super fun. We have this little plaque that says, "Happy to share with you, such as we've got the leaks in the roof, the soup in the pot," which is a little warming or I don't know, one of those little pads so that you don't put hot stuff directly on a counter, which we'll never use for that. It's just decoration, but that was one of my Christmas presents to my partner last year. Super cute. Those are all our little coffees. That Eli and Annie mug, actually, my partner's still drinking out of right now, so that's why it's out on the counter. It's only half finished. And then we've got our little herbs set up with the little frog salt and pepper shakers. And I always put a seasonally appropriate plate there to cover all the wires and crap that's going on behind there. But I think it looks cute, and I'm glad that I can display that Eli and Annie plate. And we've got another little JP setup. I did end up getting the bat bowl. I got it from a reseller, but I realized that I wasn't going to find it in a TJX store. And other like boutique Halloween shops were actually selling it for more than resellers were, so I got the best deal that I could, and I'm very happy and pleased to have it. And then over here, we've got our little coffee bar and stove, which obviously the coffee pots sit on the big table, but all of the coffees and teas are here. This year, I was able to find 2 Eli and Anna canisters, which are so cute and perfect for this. So the smaller one is tea bags, the larger one is coffee. And I've got the Joanna Parker mug and this cute little owl sugar container, which I use year round. We've got some more wall decorations. That plate on top is not technically Halloween, it's more winter, but I love it so much and it sort of has a weird vibe, so I just kept it up. And that's a vintage little sandwich recipe calendar that I just really liked the print on, so I put it up during fall because it's got that same color scheme. We've got some stuff on top of the fridge to hide some of the top of fridge mess everyone has. And I switched out for another more fall print there. And the stove is just the stove like it was before, except that I have my Joanna Parker tea towels out right now. I will say one of my favorite jokes in my house is having this tiny little cast iron stove on top of the real stove. I love crap like that. I find it funny, but also I just keep that up year round, although it is particularly well suited for my fall decorations. We've got our little breakfast bar over here. I have a little setup going on. Unfortunately, if you saw my vintage decor video, the cat that was part of that Cat Witch Ghost set was knocked off of here by the cats and is currently broken, so I have to fix it. But for now, the witch is still there, and I put that pumpkin from Walmart and a little raccoon mummy from Michael's and these little salt and pepper shakers. Down here, which is a really fun spot to decorate our little bar, has this corner, which is hard to see. Oh, that lighting is terrible, but we're working with what we've got. That just has some spooky stuff out. That little pumpkin, who, if you saw that art process video, is sitting here for now with another piece that I painted, which I will tell you more about that in another video. Our little Llewellyn's Little Book of Halloween, which is a really sweet little book that I got online. And over here is just some more fun stuff. And of course that cauldron that's holding the plants in the back. And I added some little touches to the window, like that pumpkin in a macrame basket and a little bat. And I changed out the print for this print, which again, the glare is going to make it sort of hard to see, but this is a really awesome Halloween print that I got a couple years ago that I can't get enough of. Kept the broom over the door, but hung another little bat skeleton. I have my Joanna Parker apron hanging here with a little vintage pumpkin behind it. And a couple more prints. This one I made myself. It's a collage, but it's sort of weird, so I hang it up during spooky season. So yeah, that is our kitchen. Again, I'm really pleased with how this came out. Kind of the whole house is classic Halloween this year. Last year I'd done much more of a like witchy, spooky kitchen vibe, but I was kind of okay with the type of decor that I have. It just works better for me to go classic for the whole house right now with the size of place that we've got. Oh, and I do have my favorite little tea towel hanging here, not to be used, just to be admired. So yeah. That's the kitchen. All right, so the bathroom is sort of an odd situation, which if you saw my original home tour video, you'll know it's absolutely tiny and there's not a lot I can do. There's also a lot that needs to be revamped in this bathroom, like it needs a new paint job. That mirror is chipping on the edges, but we did what we could. So I, of course, put up my fall colored shower curtain. We have a little spider bath mat. This has been my bath mat for Halloween for I think now like 3 years. And I just think it's cute, so I keep putting it up and I haven't gotten a new one yet. Here at the sink, we have a little ghost soap dispenser. And then I have this little glass moon bottle, but I had no purpose for it, but still really like it. I think it's pretty nice, so I just turned it into a candle holder, which will probably never be lit in here, but it looks nice, you know. We've got our little shelf here, which mostly is just regular bathroom stuff, but I am using those Joanna Parker napkins as little washcloths because I didn't have another spot for them, but I wanted to be able to put one out. And then, I'll close the door so you can see them. We have replaced most of the pictures in here, or at least about half of the pictures in here, with stuff that's a bit more fall appropriate. So we'll start down here with my favorite, which is this little greeting card of these cats. I think it's so cute. I don't remember the artist's name, but that was another one from my grandma's house that I just loved and was very happy to get to put out this year. Up there we've got a little fairy riding her bat, which unfortunately, as you can see, there's some weird warping happening in the frame. Now this is because I'm stupid, and that picture is printed actually on canvas, and I had accidentally had it folded up so it had this terrible crease right through the middle. And me being a dumbass was like, well, canvas is sort of fabric, so why don't I just iron it? Without remembering, as an artist who works on canvas all the time, that heat makes canvas shrink. So I started ironing it with I had a layer of fabric, then was ironing it, and it still totally shrunk weirdly on the sides under the heat. And I still really like the print, so I did put it up, but as you can see, I hung it up high so that you don't really notice so much how warped it got in the frame. Then I replaced my Hayao Miyazaki posters with these two. The bottom is this beautiful Rousseau print that is probably my favorite painting of his. I just think it's so lovely. And then the top is this all caps album, which if you don't know who MF Doom or Madlib are and you're into hip hop, I would highly recommend going and checking them out because in my opinion, they're some of the best of all time. Madlib is mostly a producer, and MF Doom, which I'm sure you probably know, is a rapper and producer, and they're just musical geniuses. And then I kept this Enzor print that I had because Enzor is super weird and fits. And then up there is an Inuit print that my grandma had gotten. You can see the cobwebs. But I also felt like it had a color scheme and sort of a weirdness about it that also fit with the season. And it's also just really beautiful. It's gorgeous art. I have another one too that I hang up sometimes that is just lovely. So yeah, that's the bathroom. Again, not a lot besides hanging art that we can actually do in here. The frog toilet paper holder, it took me a second to get to that word, of course has stayed because it's just glorious. And frogs are always in spooky season. So yeah, there's this one. So the last room we're going to take a look at is the bedroom, which is one of my favorite rooms to decorate, and it's pretty important that things stay cozy and comfortable in here, obviously, because this is where we sleep. And I just have so much fun putting together a couple little things, mainly my dresser. So we're going to start over here. This is the little vignette I have. I shouldn't say little, it's actually quite a lot going on. And I kept this, it is Halloween, but mostly it's just a little bit more spooky. Not a ton of really classic Halloween stuff, but it just feels sort of like a setup you would see at an antique store, which is definitely my vibe. We have our little amethyst stone here, which is my birthstone. That little vintage candle holder. One of the more directly Halloween things, which is this little skeleton in a rocking chair. But we also have a palm reading palm with a little spider ring on it. As you saw in the living room, I love to use these old books to decorate stuff. So these two guides were actually from my grandma's. And again, they're not specifically autumn, but they just had that type of a color scheme, and I like the wear on both of them, so I used those to sort of be anchor points for all of the little things that we have going on, which includes this fortune-telling teacup, which I will try and put up the website online that I got it from. I had wanted this piece for like 3 years and it kept on selling out, or they wouldn't be selling it for like the season. And I finally saw it, and unfortunately the shipping for this was super expensive. For that whole website, it's really expensive. So this was sort of an investment piece, but because it had been a few years that I wanted it, I felt like it was finally time. And it has this little brass spider inside. And I love doing tiny little touches. Like that's a mini Russian doll that is a bunch of cats. Super cute. A little cat thimble. Little vintage car toy. That tiny little skull. And another one of those thrifted Halloween pieces that I showed you. I've got like this cat postcard that I thought was so fun. But it's sort of mixed in with other antique pieces, like this antique perfume bottle. One of those actual vintage Kodak cameras, which had been in its case, but I took out of the case so that you can see how beautiful it is a little bit more. And I wish that the straps for it were more organized, but frankly, they're sort of difficult to move because it's so old. But then I also have like this little candle holder that I still need to get the little candles for. And then my Joanna Parker cat. Couple little boxes that hold little doodads like pins and things. And this beautiful handmade ceramic moon canister, which usually is for tea or something, but because I have something else this year that I'm using for that, I'm putting jewelry and stuff in here, like with my other jewelry box that's on this side. And then I have, of course, this little candle holder, which also needs the small candles. That was from my grandma's. Then I like to put in my mirror, I'll just put a couple, will it focus? There we go. I'll just stick a couple postcards and things. Oh, you can see Sweet Pea checking out the bed. Just a couple little things that add a nice touch. And I have also this little bouquet of faux flowers that has the skeleton hand coming out. One of the pictures that I switched out, again, hard to see in the glare, is this reprint of a vintage Halloween picture that I thought was so cute. And I have these hanging on top of my mirror, which that is sort of a gothic poem that I found at a thrift store that I put up last Halloween and have just kept up because I really liked it. So let's move on to the bed. Start at the bedside table. That's right, Sweet Pea. I love to hang little things on my light because it creates this sort of shadow effect. And those have been hanging there for a while now, but I just kept them up because I liked them. And we've got my little bedside table, which has that beautiful vintage cat lamp that I still need to find a bulb for. Then it also has this little candle holder that was from my grandma's that's so cute that I put this, the tiny little candle on top of, that always feels sort of like a spell candle to me. And we have just a couple cute things. I usually keep my glasses or sunglasses on this little tray. But I also have this adorable piece from my grandma, which is that little frog that's holding like a ball of thread type of a thing. So it has these mini little pins in it. And those two little people sleeping, which you saw in the kitchen portion, me having the little mini stove on top of the stove. This is like the same joke, that there's a little couple sleeping in their bed right next to our bed. And then I have this really nice coaster, which is also from the Getty, based on an old Middle Ages print that I usually leave up year round, but definitely fits. And that little vintage orange tea canister. And there's just a couple things down here. My vintage rotary phone. And a couple little pieces. And I have out this Halloween book I've yet to read, so I don't know if it's any good, but I really liked the cover and thought that it would be an interesting look at the history. Yeah, that's right, buddy. Aw. You can see I also have a ton of books stacked underneath because books are hiding everywhere in this house. Oh, and the last thing on this little side table, which these guys stay up all year round, these are my little miniatures that I just set in the sort of well around this lamp. They're not Halloween related, I just really love them, so I always keep them up regardless of what the season is. And those have been collected over a few years. We've got like the Aquarius candle and that, which is an antique Middle Eastern oil lamp. So let's move on to the bed. Oh, buddy, what are you doing? Get down from there. Get down from there, bud. You can't be up there. Come on. Oh, hold on. All right, sorry for that interlude. Sweet Pea is being much more polite right now than Spud was. For the bed, I did end up using this pillow that I had thought maybe of returning, but it actually ended up going really nicely with the pillowcases I knew I wanted to use, which are those mustard linen cases. And we have this gorgeous bedspread, which you would have seen if you watched my first video. And I had thought about switching this blanket on the end out for something a little more fall, but it just looked really nice with the green bed sheets we have and with those beautiful curtains that look so nice. I especially like them now. It's about 10 in the morning, so there's a really nice soft light streaming through from the window. And I actually didn't need to change out any of the pictures over the bed because like I still had this gorgeous little plaque that was from my grandma's that is of course perfect for the season. It's fall colors, it's a cat at night. But then I have this print up here, this sort of cowboy rodeo print, which I'll give a little description of that, but it's based off a picture that I believe was done in the 1800s that someone kind of revamped to sell as prints. That was a birthday present from my partner. And those little ones over there I also felt like fit. That's a painting that my partner did. That's an old Soviet era print that I got from a tag sale. So yeah, I felt like that actually fit the fall vibe still, so I just left them. Yeah, there's not a whole lot going on in the bedroom. It's kind of small. I did put up a little reprint of a vintage Halloween cutout that I got from Traditions because I didn't feel like switching out that painting, which is obviously winter, but I felt like if I just added the cat, then that kind of hid the fact that I didn't change it. I do have little touches like that little guy who hangs with a little lamp. And then I have over here by the door my little spot to hang my purses, although usually it's just vintage purses I don't actually use. And this print, which is very cute. Also bought from a thrift store, and I usually just keep it up, but it especially feels very autumnal. And then we have that plaque that I showed during the living room section. So yeah, all in all, I'm extremely happy with the bedroom. Again, there's not a whole lot that I can decorate in here because of the size, but I think I worked pretty well with what I had. I have up some nice colored lights that give really warm, soft glow to the whole room. We need to take out our air conditioner. It's already September, but we just haven't gotten to it yet because we're both very busy people. But there you go. That's the bedroom, and so ends what I'm going to show you of the decorating that I've done for Halloween. And I'll have a little outro for you. There you go. Say bye, sweet pea. Say bye, honey. Oh, sweet girl. All right. Bye, guys.